Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The End of Castles. And the name of my lecture today is called Manifestation and Conjuring. I want to speak on the difference between manifestation and conjuring. Manifestation means a public demonstration of power and purpose. Conjuring means to summon a devil or spirit by invocation, which means summons, or incantation, which means spells. In other words, it means to practice magical arts. And we see that a lot in movies today. But the question is, do they mean the same thing? Now, manifestation and conjuring are two different forms of communication within the spiritual realm. Both can be reflected in the spiritual, but in different ways. How? Well, let's go to a very popular scripture. We're going to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. This scripture is speaking about the armor of God. However, notice that it says, and against the spiritual forces of evil. And where do those spiritual forces of evil reside? In the heavenly realm. The heavenly realm, the spiritual realm that we can't see with our physical eyes. But both can be pulled from the spiritual realm, manifestation and conjuring. However, one is good and the other one is evil. Again, manifestation means a public demonstration of power and purpose. Now, our power lies in Jesus. Jesus gives us the power, and it comes to fruition publicly. The manifestation is obvious to other people. We may have prayed for something, and it came to pass. If we are praying within God's will, it will manifest because God has willed it for you already. So it already belonged to you before you received it. That is not the same thing as conjuring. Again, to conjure is to summon a devil or spirit by invocation or incantation. It means to practice magical arts. That spirit lies with Satan. Satan pulls from the power of the air, since he is the prince of the air, hoping you practice or use some type of magical art to make your requests come true publicly. Conjuring is not as obvious as manifestation. Conjuring can give you the illusion that things are good. It looks like the sage worked. The palm reading was correct. The psychic was right all along. You asked for it outside of God's will, but it happened. How could that be? Let's go back to Ephesians chapter 6, dealing with the armor of God. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Schemes. The devil's design, the devil's ideas, the devil's plots, the devil's manipulation tactics. The devil will design your desire to fit his. The devil will give you ideas that are his. The devil would plot against God's purpose for you so you can accomplish his. The devil will use manifestation tactics so you would think God was involved when it was him. By making you believe that you are manifesting something instead of conjuring something, which is the difference between good and evil. Let me clarify. The devil has not created anything on this earth or in heaven. All systems were created by God. All systems. The flowers that have seeds and replenishes itself when it rains. The trees take in carbon dioxide and send out oxygen for us to breathe. The healing of a sore on your body over time. The devil didn't create it. He just saw the system come to life right before his eyes. So he knows how to conjure up a false narrative to the system that has already been created to fit his selfish desires. Manifestation comes from God alone. We lean on his might, his power, and purpose. Conjuring comes from the devil that leans on an item that has no might, no power, and or purpose, but magically seem to have all. So how can you tell the difference between the two? Let's go to 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, for many false prophets have gone out into the world. I will admit for some people it's hard to tell the difference. It takes time, but it should take time because you need time to test the spirit. Testing the spirit helps you recognize whether the blessing was a godly blessing or an incantation or incantation. Saints have been saying, I manifested it, or I am manifesting this thing to come into existence. We can't manifest anything because we don't have enough power alone. Our power comes from God, and that is who does the art of manifesting. If you are saying you will make something manifest, I tell you today, you are conjuring up for something to happen. And the more you keep conjuring, thinking you are manifesting because things are coming true, you are falling within the devil's schemes. And the Bible clearly states the devil is crafty. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Saints, I'm happy to inform you, you can't manifest anything to happen due to our lack of power. We get our power from the Lord, so only he can manifest anything to happen. Don't get bamboozled by the devil's schemes. Only God's power can manifest. God manifests, people conjure. Stop using sage, getting your palms read, using crystals as a spiritual tool, or anything that you have been told would help you to communicate with the spiritual world. The more you keep using those false gods, it would take longer for your request to come true because the devil needs you to increase your time of using them to decrease your time with God. He wants to decrease your desire for God by making you believe God is answering your prayers. In reality, your magical art of conjuring is pulling you away from God. And the devil needs to pull you away from God so he can use your hunger and thirst for more of God for his purpose of destroying your connection with God. Saints, If you are not sure you are conjuring, then humbly get on your knees and ask God. No need for anything or anyone to be around. Just humbly pray. It will bring you closer to God and save you a lot of money on buying worthless things to conjure up something that has no might, no power, or purpose. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of The End of Castles. And as always, when godly wisdom ascends, a new mindset begins. Bye bye.